Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ubuntu Touch Q&A. This is episode 28, streamed live on May 19th, 2018. I am now echoing. I am a professional. Much better. We've got a big show today full of all of the big questions that everyone is asking and no one is getting answered. And that's a good summary, so let's do it. But before we start, I'm joined this week by Marius.
Hello.
Jan.
That's me. Hello.
And Florian.
Hello, everyone.
Oh. Well, does anyone want to talk about the fun and exciting things they've been doing with Ubuntu Touch this week?
Nah.
No.
I don't like talking.
I do. I sure as hell do. So I can start. So else than bug fixes, more bug fixes, and even more bug fixes on Senior, we have a little exciting thing, which is Qt Web Engine works on Mir, which is pretty amazing. And we also want to package this into a standalone browser package so people can try it out before we make the transition fully away from Oxide. Because right now I think Oxide is the one that gives me nightmares, and it has been a real struggle to get Oxide to behave at all, to make it work for this release. That's also why we have decided to focus on Qt Web Engine, and actually instead of to focus on Oxide, we focus on making that work, and that took less than a day. It was a lot simpler than we expected. So that's what I've been doing. After that, it has been bug fixes and even more bug fixes.
So to back it up, we have several bugs on our bug tracker for the 1604 backlog milestone, which is all of the regressions that have happened from going from 1504 to 1604. And those are things that we need to fix before we can release. And several of them are in the browser, specifically just weird issues like it crashing when it loads certain websites. Our browser is a Chromium-based browser engine called Oxide, and that's wrapped inside of our browser app, which then gets used for web apps and other things. So the problem that we're seeing is we have an old version of Oxide. It's based on Chromium 58 at this point.
No, 56.
56? Oh, that's getting worse.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's bad. So it is quite buggy and quite old, and we're not really able to upgrade it because every upgrade will cause issues with the rest of the system, and it's rather tightly integrated, but at the same time, we think that we can replace it. So Qt Web Engine came along not long ago. We started evaluating it, and that is a web browser engine. Is it still based on WebKit?
No, it's pretty much the same as Oxide, to be honest, but a lot more tightly integrated with Mir. No, not Mir. with Qt, and Qt's API doesn't directly use libribs, for example.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, it's more tightly integrated, and it also have, I think, like 4 people working on it full time, just having that instead, which means that one is moving along pretty nicely.
And it's actually keeping track with the Chromium releases, which is important, especially for security.
Yep.
So for the first release of 1604, we're probably going to still have Oxide, and it may still have the bugs in it that are currently filed. Because, for example, the one where it crashes when trying to load a website seems to be based in libping, which is actually inside of the source tree for Chromium. So we can't just upgrade libping without upgrading the entirety of Chromium. So, first release, the browser will still be the same one. It may still have those problems, but I believe Marius was working on packaging his new prototype browser based on Qt Web Engine into a click, and we'll call that Browser NG or something. And you'll be able to install that. That is what you called it.
Mm-hmm.
That was my idea.
Yeah. I see a trend here. Dalton comes with a name.
I should stop naming things because you actually use them.
Same with Project Sudoku.
That was just a bad idea. So that'll be packaged and in the open store on release. Well, very soon even. And people will be able to download that to see the preview of the next browser.
Want to know something fun?
Sure.
You can watch Netflix with this, if you like, because it supports Chromium plugins.
That is the only thing I have been waiting for. Now I can waste even more time.
But it will be disabled for this for developers because they need to work.
Oh, if developer mode is enabled.
So that's just face recognition, and if you're a UBports developer, it just won't work.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's definitely what we're gonna do. You got to use that AI.
AI.
Any chance we can get blockchain into this?
Well, you can download Bitcoin Core, and so why not?
Okay, maybe I have some more serious question for you. So when we package this new browser, I mean the goal needs to be that we are on par with the features that the current browser has. Would it be the same, like regarding what we can do with bookmarks and with history and so on, that the current browser supports? I mean, the current browser features are not that sophisticated like a desktop browser, but at least it got quite okay the basic functions.
Right.
What's in the prototype? Let's say.
No, so actually the prototype will have the same functions and even more, because all of those functions actually live in the browser code, which we reuse. The only thing that we replace is the Oxide engine. The Oxide engine itself is basically just a web view, that Qt web view with plugins to events, like someone wants to record audio or something, which goes back to the browser, and the browser tells the user. Those same functions are all there. The APIs are for Qt Web Engine are pretty similar and has a lot more functions than actually Oxide Hive right now, because it's a lot more mature. So the same functions will be there, and probably more in the future, because we have a lot more exposed APIs we can use.
And they're probably better documented than they are in Oxide. Sorry to the people who worked on it.
Yeah, well, it's not the people's fault that work on Oxide. It's just Oxide is the source code itself is
apparently it's gone.
Like for
we don't need any source code
to build. What happened?
Welcome back.
Oh, yeah, I said that the source code itself is like 3-4 gigabytes of data. So that itself says that one developer that was working on it is way too much for him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's even more for us.
Actually, I talked to the former developer of the browser app at Ubuntu Europe, and he told me that the decision to go with Oxide and with in-house solution rather than Qt Web Engine was to stay closer to upstream and to have more frequent updates. And for a while that was actually the case, but for us it's of course it's a different story when you have a team of more than 100 people working on the whole operating system. Then you can do stuff like that. But for us, of course, it makes a lot more sense to just go with upstream solutions wherever it's possible.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Qt Web Engine was out back then. That come in 5.6.
Right, yeah, but
So
there was the thing that before that, and that
Qt WebKit.
was Qt. No, not WebView.
Qt WebKit.
Just WebKit. Yeah, Qt WebKit. WebKit. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Should we get into some questions?
Sure.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So we only got a few questions on the forum this week, and they were all from Donix. So let's get into them. First, he presented an article that Phoronix wrote, and Canonical discussing dropping the support for ARM hard float, 32-bit ARM hard float. And he just wanted to know, how does that really affect Ubuntu Touch?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Realistically, no.
So, sorry, Marius,
go ahead, Jan. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I go. I go. Okay, so what both me and Jan are trying to say is that Bionic still has how many years? 5 years from now, that still support ARM HF, and by that time, if it's dropped right now, we will still have 5 years from now on. But the reason why I don't think this is a problem at all, because canonicals are IoT centric, which means that they are heavily focused on ARM hardware, and for them to drop something like this would be insane. But I don't think they will drop it, drop the building of them, because they still build PowerPC, which is way less than. So if my internet would stay alive.
You're back.
Okay. So what I say that they still build PowerPC, which is way age back, which no one uses except some people. Okay, not the best argument, but but you get what I mean. Is that ARM HF is so popular in the IoT area, and especially for you have single-board computers like Raspberry Pis and all of that. So I don't think that's a problem at all. And at the same time, as I said, Bionic is still 5 years left, and in 5 years, I don't think we have ARM HF devices ourselves anymore, because the Nexus 5, for example, will be 10 years old, which hopefully we have moved to a newer device at that time, because in 5 years, how fast the technology is moving, in 5 years, there's something new. There is probably all devices are 64-bit, and they all have superpowers, and yeah.
And they have quantum computer coprocessors. Oh, wait, that might not happen.
You can just plug it directly into your brain.
Yeah. Okay, moving on.
There were a few questions regarding Jan's talk at UbuCon this year. So first, are there any further references that we can find or give for updating Unity 8 to its latest version?
Right. So this will be something we will have a lot of fun with after OTA 4. So at the moment, the fun, yeah. At the moment, the highest priority really is just to get OTA 4 out, get Xenial out. And after that, we will have some time to breathe, some time to rethink our priorities, and we will then, one of the things that might be the next big step is getting to Unity 8, and with that also the latest version of Mir, and with that also Wayland support. And yeah, it's going down the rabbit hole. So the plans are not really there yet, I think, but it will be one of the next steps.
Oof. Marius, your microphone, please.
What?
Probably the cat is unmuted.
What's going on?
Okay. Another thing that Donix was asking about was the Suru style for Qt quick controls, which we have talked about a lot in the past, and now we're actually go?
They are in the latest 1604 Devil image, and you can actually use them. The release went a little unnoticed because the person who did most of the work on this rule theming, Stefano, who did really a great job there, is very busy otherwise at the moment. So it went a little slow towards the end, and then the release was really just merging a PR, and not many people noticed. So we probably could have done a little more shout out and prepared it a little better. But yeah, it works now. So you can use quick controls, and you can use quick controls with the custom theming that we have. Of course, the other themes work as well. So you can also use the upstream material design theme and the flat theming. So yeah, you can also use other themes. And yeah, we have to prepare some reference apps, I think, some examples, and publish them soon. Of course, though, Ubuntu components are not going away, so you don't have to port your apps to Qt quick controls right away to continue to be supported.
No. However, it might be a good idea if you're starting a new app to work on the Qt quick controls rather than Ubuntu components.
Exactly, and also Qt has really great documentation for Qt quick controls. There's some great tutorials. Of course, it's not all targeted to be built and run on Ubuntu Touch, so you will have to make some tweaks to make it work with clickable and to add a desktop file and so on. But yeah, our documentation is evolving as well. So we will hopefully see some tutorials how to port generic Qt quick applications to Ubuntu Touch as well. Soon,
TM. I guess that will lead right into his next question. What is happening with app development for 1604? The current app. Well, let's start with what's happening to current apps already on the platform. This isn't going to sound good to most people.
Flo, want to take this?
Let's say app development is two sides of the same medal, or how should I say? On one side, I think we made a great progress with at least with the core apps to bring them to 1604 compatibility. They're not crashing anymore. We can recompile or recompile everything for both flavors now, if we like, or both releases. And also the open store will get support in terms of it will support 1504 and 1604 at the same time by detecting which version of which release is installed on the phone. And it will not install the wrong version of the app. So big thanks also to Brian from the open store team to implement this on short notice, let's say, so that we can already see that's working when we get out the first release candidates for the 1604s. And it should not be a bad experience at all. On the other hand, what will happen is that if a maintainer doesn't build the app for 1604 and it contains some native code, like C++ libraries or something really compiled inside, which is affecting everything that's not a real not a pure QML app or a web app, of course. They probably will have issues with that. They're probably going to break. And expectation would be that if a maintainer doesn't maintain anymore and nobody is really willing to recompile it for 1604, or we cannot find the source code, that apps will disappear gradually or just not work in 1604. We cannot avoid this really, and it's the same with a desktop Ubuntu. Let's say if you get delivered a new release, then you cannot just install the package of the old release in most cases because your dependencies won't work. Here it's a little bit better, I think, because some of the apps will have no problems. Some of the apps will be just needed to be recompiled without really modifying anything. But we cannot take any guarantees of what is affected in the open store and what not. There are a lot of apps inside. People have uploaded a great amount of apps up to now, and personally we will see. Yeah, yeah, just let's get prepared for that. That we don't have on the day after 16.04 release, everybody very disappointed about that the apps have broken. It will happen for sure for some of your apps. Everybody will have one or two on his phone at least. From my point of view, I can say for Telegram, I was able to migrate this now to clickable build, and I can really recommend the clickable container for building apps or rebuilding the apps, because in 90% of the cases, it's just setting up the right configuration files, and then it does its magic, and it really is quick and easy to use. So clickable build method is the recommended way, I would say, to try getting an app to 16.04. And you can also build it for both at the same time by just issuing another command line to say, okay, you want to have the 15.04 SDK. You can build your apps in seconds if it's working for both of them. And that's what I did for Telegram, and it was okay. And in the meantime, also the QMake process is working for clickable. It's not only CMake, so even the QMake enabled apps will be able to use it.
So yeah, clickable really does most of the work for you. In almost any case, it should work. If you do dirty hacks, then you might have to put in some extra work. For example, on the log viewer app, I had some problems, and I was so annoyed with C++, so I just rewrote it in JavaScript, because then if it's all interpreted, you can just use the same package really, and you just have QML and JavaScript in there, and it will work on both 15.04 and 16.04. So that's also something you can do, of course, but in general, it's always possible to recompile, and in most cases, it will really be just a mean of using a different clickable command and changing the framework in the manifest and the AppArmor file. So yeah, don't be too afraid. Just try it for your app, and it might just work.
Mm-hmm. There is a post on our forum for creating, for making the changes to your manifest to support 16.04, and Brian posted a post on his blog on how to upload apps for both Vivid and Xennial. There's a click of the open store with only Xennial support. It was only in the open store Telegram group. If you'd like to see it, then that would be the only place to get it right now. However, later it will.
I think it's also available on the releases page on GitHub.
So that makes sense. Otherwise, we'll be putting that in before release, so you'll get it eventually. Anything else on that topic? App development. It's kind of a big one.
Probably why this is necessary, and will this be necessary in the future again? So that this is something that came from Qt upstream. So I think between, what do we have at the moment? 5.3, 5.4?
It wasn't really a Qt problem. It was more of a GCC changed problem.
Yeah. So this version of Qt is built with GCC 5.6, I think, and the old one was 4. And between 4 and 5, there's a huge symbol change. But of course, a different Qt version does contribute to the problem, because they have even though they don't break the API as fully, they have broken some level. I will turn myself a little bit up if that's better. Like that? Is that better? Yeah. Probably. But also, it's not only Qt, it's the whole operating system that's built with a newer version of GCC. So it's a bunch of different aspects and problems and segfaults and more segfaults. So basically, yeah, segfault is a null pointer or a wrong pointer that's not owned by the application. Simple, really.
You tried to access memory you weren't allowed to.
And it's compiled with access memory you're not allowed to, or null, which you're not allowed to. But basically, that's when you compile it with an older version, those symbols point to the wrong direction. Really basic. And that's why you need to recompile your app. In the future, this might not be as big a problem since we are not doing this 4 to 5 was one of the worst one I heard. So I'm not sure if that will really be a problem in the next one. But we should always expect this to be a problem when we move a GCC version. It will not happen.
In general, Qt has a very good. In general, Qt has a reputation of being very very careful with their compatibility and also always trying to stay compatible with earlier versions. But it's not always entirely in our control. But this should not happen that soon again.
So what I was trying to say, as long as we stay on Signal, this should not be a problem. But when we move to, for example, Bionic, this might be a problem again. We don't know. We won't do it yet, since systemd, etc. is still a problem.
Mm-hmm. And the hope, of course, is that once we get to moving to Bionic, we'll have better infrastructure in place so that it's easier to build your apps and then release them to new versions. Even easier than it is now.
Yep.
I think we covered that one pretty well.
Yep.
Last question from Donix today. It looks like the regressions list for 1604 is rather small and specific now. I think there are 10 open issues at this point, and that list has kind of fluctuated over time.
Yeah.
Is there anything more than what's listed that needs to be done before a release, such as large or small constructions?
I think this question both goes a little bit back to the users. It's ultimately you guys that testing out will find where the bugs are, but there's no more bugs that we know of except these ones. I've been using it as a daily driver, and so far I don't really have any problems else than the browser, which pisses me off. But that's the browser, which doesn't close when I close one window. I have like 5 windows now which I can't get rid of, which is annoying. But that's a reported bug. But else than that, there's not anything that we need to do on the infrastructure side. Everything is mostly ready. So of course testing and more testing, and then we will know if there is more issue that we haven't seen yet. But at least there's no highly critical since they haven't been found yet. It's safe.
Mm-hmm.
What we also have to test still is really make sure that the upgrade path works, so nobody loses any data when moving from the current OTA 3 Vivid version to the latest Senior, OTA 4 essentially. So at the moment, for example, what happens is that you see some of the apps are duplicated and so on. So that won't happen as soon as we release. So at the moment, we're targeting to resolve the backlog by the end of this month, and then have OTA 4 out by the end of June. Mm-hmm. So we planned in enough time, or we hope that it's going to be enough time to really get testing done in a proper way and really make sure that nothing is broken by the upgrade path. For example, we had a weird issue with the Nexus 5, I think, losing mobile connection because it was a weird thing. So that happened in OTA 3. it's not happening at the moment. So we already did some upgrade path testing in Xenial as well. But yeah, that is why we still have so much or such a relatively big time frame left. That is really for testing.
Mm-hmm. One thing that is important to note about the bugs we're trying to solve now, the backlog is just regressions, things that worked in 1504 and don't work in 1604. So bugs like on the Nexus 5, Wi-Fi stops working and the phone gets really hot. That's happened since 1504, and while we do want to fix it, that's not something that, and it's very annoying. I've used the Nexus 5 daily for some time, and it's annoying, but it's not one of those bugs that we are targeting need to fix before we can release, since it's already been out for a while. And again, it does suck, but that has to be how it is for now. Another thing, I did see a question about Libertine. Your Libertine containers will almost definitely stop working between releases, because your Libertine containers are all built with the older version of GCC and all those packages, and also they're just generally older.
I don't think that's correct. I think the Libertine containers will work just fine. It's the same as running Xenial on a Bionic desktop. That's what chroot is for. So I personally don't think it is an issue. But
well, in that case, we'll need to fix them.
Yeah,
but since they are 1504 containers as well, it is a good idea to rebuild them after the update.
Oh yeah, sure.
With Xenial, because all your packages inside the container are end of life as well. So you might want to do that.
So whether or not they work, it would still be a good idea to remove them and start over. I guess we'll need to do more testing there.
Yeah, and I would say, well, let's invite everyone for testing even already devil images, even if you're not a developer and you can spare your time or your device or both at the same time would be perfect, to switch to 1604 and see what's your personal experience. And we are always eager and interested in feedback. You can do, of course, issue reports, bug reports on the GitHub trackers. You can also ping us in the super group, but please don't ping too much, but there's always somebody around who might assist, because we really need this time a lot of feedback. This will be a major upgrade. It's a distro upgrade. It's not just increasing a few version numbers here and there. And so we will never know. We do our best to test with our QA team to see what's going on. Everybody of our side is already testing now. But still, we will have maybe some things that slip through. So don't wait for the RC. If you let's say have the dedication to help us a little bit more, already testing on the devil images is perfect. The devil images are not only for developers. They're just saying that they might break completely on one day and might not be fixed on the next day. It can be that if you really break a devil image, you might not be able to use that phone for a few days, depending on the issue we have. We try to be more stable on the RC candidate, on the release candidates, on the RC images. They should not break like this. But yes, please help us testing. Yeah, that would be great.
Actually, I think we might get the RC process started soon for 1604 as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we should.
Make sense. So that then there would be a little more guarantee that it doesn't break horribly with one update because someone else used it before, almost always. So yeah, that would actually be very helpful if people want to test the upgrade path. They can just use the UBports installer to install the 1604 devil image and just make sure you don't tick the wipe option, because then all your internal storage will be wiped. Yeah, so you will lose your data, but if you don't, then you will just be able to use the same data in 1604 that you had in 1504. And of course, you can always go back as well. So then you can just select the 1504 stable channel again and just go through the installation process, and you'll be back on Vivid.
But also, I need to down a little bit there because he said fail horribly. Wrong word, because it doesn't mean that your device is broken or anything like that. It means that Xenial is broken, but you can always go back to Vivid. You can always fix it. There's not like Android where you can hard brick your device. It's nothing like that. You can always go back, and it's as simple as going to recovery, using the installer, and you are back on track with all your data, as long as you don't check wipe. If you do it without wipe, you will have all your data back. So.
Yep, and actually one of those things did happen where things failed horribly this week, and we're going to be honest about that. We were in the middle of upgrading Qt versions when the image built itself, and ABI was broken for half of the things. At the same time, we removed packages, or we removed a PPA. So we were using Canonical's packages before, just a few of them from their upstream, which weren't getting updates because they were for Ubuntu Touch specifically. Now we're back on the versions that are in the regular archive, and that also broke ABI. So things like MTP was getting a bus error, which is like a segfault, except worse. And I think it's funny because it's called sig bus, and it only makes me think of processes getting hit by a bus. Anyway, so that did happen. We had to rebuild much of the archive, and Simon said, "I told you so" a bunch of times because he's been hounding us for several months to get testing that fixes that problem.
But it didn't fail horribly. You still have the UI. It's just crashed.
And you did still have data.
Yeah. It just crashed when you press the sidebar. So it wasn't when we developers say fail horribly, we don't mean your device will burn up and fly away to space. That's far away from what we mean. It just
you won't
means
have
that
a Note 7. Too soon? Nah.
your device transformed into an iPhone. No. So basically, what we mean with that is the packages we build and the packages like Unity 8, for example, might break and might not start in Devil. Of course, we don't actively do this, but this can happen from time to time because that's what the developer channel is for, is to get out, see that, because some things might work perfectly when you build it locally, but when you send it to the server, it might fail horribly. So that's what the devil channel is for. And again, I said horribly, but it's just horribly for a developer working on it, because it works on his phone, but it doesn't work online. So it's not as bad as we say it is. But if you don't have experience with flashing, it might be not as pleasant.
Whew, okay, we'll go with that.
Sounds like discussing a disease, but yeah, that's
Okay, so we actually did finish Donic's questions now, and now we have Yvonnes' questions. And these are the two people who sent a bunch of questions this week. So thank you for sending in your questions so that we can answer them and have content for this show and we don't get really boring. Oh, we already did. So Ivan's questions. He has a lot of questions on Halium, so we're just going to take those rapid fire. His first question, what is going on with this whole cough thing? We kind of started a project on it, and then it almost kind of died a little.
It has been put on ice because of Xenial. Xenial has been our top of the chain list, or top of the to-do list, and that's also affected all else like Unity 8 and whatnot. So after we get OTA 4 out and Xenial is on a state where it's stable, we will get back to this kind of work. We also might get back to this kind of work while CNL is in testing mode. That also is a perfect time for both me and Dalton to do this kind of work.
Mm-hmm. And if you are hacking on Halium right now, that's just fine. It's just things are broken over there. So, sorry.
Hashtag blame Dalton.
Yeah, do that. We do have the COF platform from you that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. Couple of weeks ago. However, we can't switch between that platform and the regular platform yet, so we don't have that in place. That is the picture. That is one cat. Whoops, I hid Marius from the broadcast. This is a professional show. Up next, Yvonne just had a general question about the progress of Halium, and it's about in the same state, because most of the contributors are currently contributing to their own respective projects rather than the one that brings us all together at the moment. Which is it's not the best thing in the world, but time is limited.
But it's definitely, Halium is definitely not dead. It's just that we all also have, I say we, I really don't do much for Halium, but everybody also has other stuff to do. Like all the development teams also have their own things that are just as important or more important. But the idea of Halium is not gone, and we definitely won't push our own HAL idea rather than go the Halium way. It's just that nothing is happening with HAL in UBports at the moment, so nothing is happening with HAL in Halium. And same goes for Plasma Mobile and what's the third one?
LunaOS.
LunaOS, yeah.
Plasma Mobile they're working a lot with post-market as well. And their mainline devices are actually working kind of okay. Up next, Yvonne's next question was, what's going on with the Nexus 5X? As always, it's still on hold because it hates me. That's the scientific answer. That phone hates me.
I think that Ivan just asked this question that he knows already that the phone hates you, but he just wanted to hear it from you once more. This question is not valid. He knows exactly what's going on. But for the remaining public, of course, Nexus 5X, I don't think that will ever come to life.
I think it'll happen. The thing is, there are a lot of devices with kernel 3.10 that have the same issues as the 5X, so it's not just the 5X, but it is annoying either way. And we're just not in a state where we can work on it right now. I think I have some ideas on what it could be, but I think those are also being invalidated by other people. So, I don't know. A lot of the work on that kind of thing is just guessing and hoping that it works. And when it does work, you feel really good, but when it doesn't, you're working on it for weeks. And that becomes quite a time sink when there are better things to do.
You guys couldn't see me.
No,
sorry about
you
that.
had a cat.
Yeah, I always forget about the camera angles. I'm thinking it's on top, but it's down there. Yeah, sorry about that. Continue.
This is the real XPS 13 experience, folks.
The cat sits down and yeah.
It's all gone. It's all over.
It's all
Here's a little bit of shade we can throw at Marius.
oh no.
You keep saying that the 1+3 and 5 ports are kind of finished, but there's no source anywhere. What's going on?
Well, so to burst the bubble, that was kind of the Ubicon surprise, if I was there. So support for the 1+5 and that was going to be the huge surprise. But as you all know, I couldn't, not all, but the people that was there know that I wasn't there because of family issues and whatnot. So there will be a live stream covering this exact topic. And now that I ruined the surprise, you know what device I will be working on. But at the same time, it also will be exciting. Report will go, and in the future we will do this. But right now, it goes back to the focus, which is Xenial, and we'll do this as soon as we can, and get the live porting. And the live porting is both support to be entertaining as it will be informative.
It's entertainment.
I say entertainment, but it's entertainment for people that like to hack.
It's entertainment for people who are masochists. What?
People who hate fun.
Last question. This one isn't actually Halium, but it is important. Why is Anbox an MediaTek only thing at the moment? And wish I could speak. Has anyone tried to run it on Halium yet?
Well, the first one is no, it's not an MTTK because the Pro 5 is actually Exynos, which is Samsung.
Exynos. It's not a MediaTek only thing. It's a not Qualcomm thing. Sorry.
Yeah, it's blame Qualcomm. It's just their way of implementation of the because all other devices seem to use Mali, which is the standard, while Qualcomm use their own. And Adreno, yeah. And somehow it doesn't like that. It doesn't seem to. There's some instruction that it gets wrong, and it seems like it's just stretched out, and the buffer and the actual frames are misaligned. It seems like, which is a weird issue in itself. But it just will take a bit longer to debug it. And it also goes back to time, and we need to have a platform to use it on.
It's really the same story as with Halium. So it's not the highest priority at the moment, because that is getting Xenial out, because it's a lot more important for us. Nbox is still something we want to do, and still something we will bring to other devices, but it's just not worth investing a lot of time there now.
When everything else is broken.
Yeah.
We need to have to have a platform which is usable on before we can make this. It's kind of like making the soup before the chicken. So.
And speaking of, Marius, I believe you said you had the Pro 5's image that didn't break mobile data somewhere?
I do, on my desktop, but I'm on laptop, and I haven't been on my desktop for a while. But I will get that uploaded and fix it. I need to recompile it because it's the one that I have on my desktop. I remember is full of debug logs, which no one wants to see my debug logs.
Print, I am broken.
So it's not as kind.
Why is there so much swearing in my D message? Oh, you know. So now we're in a bit of a pickle. We've got the big questions to go on, but we've only got 10 minutes left. So I'm going to let you guys vote. Which one do you want to do?
Why don't we have both?
No? Huh?
Why don't we have both?
Why don't we have both? Okay, we'll just we'll do both then.
Quickly.
Rapid fire.
Yes, rapid fire cannon, go!
Yeah.
Biggest questions, 10 minutes. We'll do it. So the first one is interesting to talk about because it's something that you never want to talk about in a project. But the past couple of months have led us to discover we have a very high bus factor in the UBports project. If Marius Gripsgard were hit by a bus today, we would have some problems.
Oh, bus. I didn't understand what you meant with bus factor.
Yeah, bus factor.
But we don't. That's the thing. We don't have a high bus factor because the whole infrastructure, the only thing that rely on me right now is the domain name, and we are working on making that also shared. But other than that, all the DNS, all the servers, all the access to pretty much everything we have is shared either by me and Florian or me and Jan. So the more infrastructure side, it's more me and Florian that has that, since we are on the infrastructure team, and on GitHub side, Jan is pretty much the master on GitHub. So no. So
huh? What was that? What was that?
Well, we all have access to GitHub, but he is the boss there. So no, we don't really have a high bus killing factor. Well, I don't, the bus factor, what you call it. The only thing you will lose if you lose me is a developer and a domain name.
And there would be less cats in the Q&A.
Yeah,
and
one less. The cat probably will still be alive though. So,
but who's gonna live stream the cat?
Well,
who's going to go to Norway to get the cat?
You.
That's the real question right there. Okay, so as Mario said, no, there are in most cases multiple people taking care of or having access to everything, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there's no problem at all. So of course, we have to work on our structure, and we have to work on making it a little easier, or a lot easier, for people to find tasks, because I think there are many people in the community who are qualified and have time and are motivated to contribute, but it's not always as easy as it could be and as it should be. We are aware of those problems, and we are working on them, but we will not get to the second question if we discuss all of that on air.
Oh, sure, we will.
Well,
not all of it, but
we have a couple of ideas. We have a couple of things that are going to come pretty soon. Yeah, we are a young project still, even after 1 year, and I think
we're still making mistakes.
For that, no, I think if you keep that in mind, it's going okay.
Mm-hmm. To that end, we have made, a couple of big decisions lately. So, as part of removing the bus factor, we're trying to increase redundancy in the project, as Marius has talked about. And part of that is starting to compensate me for my time. And that was not my decision. So don't say that. So stop the presses. That's not right. I'm holding a paperclip. Don't get worried about that.
Is clipping Microsoft?
Oh, it might be. I'm getting rid of it now. And with that, I'm hoping that we'll be able to... I want to bring to the project better project management and transparency on what we're doing, so that you are more able to see, okay, someone's doing that, I should not do that, because then we will both do that, and that won't work. And Flo has been working on some project management for the infrastructure side. We're talking about some big changes that we can make to improve our infrastructure to make it easier to bring people on and off the project if need be. So there's a lot of things that are happening that are going to make the project much better, especially in the coming months. So I hope that you will all stay tuned and stay with us. And for this next one, I'd really like your help. So let's move right into the next question. We're probably going to go over time with this one, but that's okay. So the big question, the biggest question, you could say. It's the best question, the hugest question. Where are we now, and where are we going? What the heck is the roadmap?
I think this is also coming back to the bus question again, but this time I use the bus in a different metaphor. Is we are only here to drive the bus, but you decide where we should drive. So this goes also back to where we want to go. This is also really impacting what your feedback and where you want us to go. So in the near future, we will move to Xenial, and Xenial is our main area to get a stable, secure, and also security patched OS. We also go the way of going with Qt Web Engine, which is also security patches and going back to security and stable and upstream. But further than that, we do have small internal plans that we want to do, which is Unity 8 and all this. But it also comes back to what the community wants. Since we are a community project, we want to try as best as we can to get the community involved and share ideas and share where we want to go and help us drive this bus in the right direction. Does that?
Sorry, someone just posted "Road to Nowhere" in the super group. I can't stop.
That's why you started laughing.
Yes. Well, Jan laughed for a different reason, but I know what it was.
Oh, Jan laughs all the time, so.
There's the clock. We're just gonna let it roll, though.
I think that's a good point to say that we had another great hour with you, and we should maybe also thank our sponsors once more that are patiently waiting for the roadmap, maybe, and
also
still donating.
Part of allowing us to compensate people like me.
Yes.
So, I actually need to
you had always this nice talk where you had all the also
Sure.
the donation links listed in your head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Where the final words again by Dalton now.
No, this isn't the final words. We aren't finished with that yet.
Okay.
On that process that Marius was talking about of letting you tell us where we're going, our crazy bus drivers. This is Desert Bus Simulator, I think, sometimes. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's the worst game ever. I need your help with that. Because everyone's been asking us for, this formal official roadmap for over a year now, roughly since before we started the maintaining Unity 8 thing. We have the GitHub issues and milestones that we use for development to mark what we want to get done before the release. However, since people keep asking, this is kind of starting to indicate that's not enough. So I don't know what is expected and what everyone needs. So everyone, I am at Universal Superbox on Telegram. And Universal Superbox on Matrix if you want to message me at either place. Do you have some good examples of what some really stellar community roadmaps look like? Because I'm not sure what people want right now.
I think also at the same time we are moving. At the same time, we are also moving so fast because we need to follow what people want and what the trends is and what the next Ubuntu release is and etc. etc. So a solid roadmap today will not be the same in 4 months. And
that's fine. That's perfectly normal in a community. But you still need that document. Ooh.
My network died there.
It's fine for things.
That is correct.
And basically, just to point it out once more, we hired Dalton on the expenses of the upcoming foundation just to take care for exactly that issues or that topic. So he will help us to get an idea how we can streamline the ideas from the community into something that's a roadmap or similar to a roadmap. You can really make use of that we want to set up a single responsible person, let's say, or a head of something, head of roadmap building, which is not his only function, of course, but will be a major function for the next time. And so, yes, I think that's the answer that some people wanted to hear. Maybe they expected a roadmap, but now we have a roadmap manager. That's already the first step.
We have a roadmap to create a roadmap. That's the roadmap, everyone.
Exactly. Sometimes you have to go on a meta level. That's okay, yeah.
All right. Well, I think that we've covered that one then. Correct?
Yep.
No other comments? Yelling at me?
Let's just say, let's drive the bus in the right direction, and we're on the way to heaven. That didn't work as well as I thought in my head.
You
Okay,
really
let's carry on.
The Norwegian sayings that Marius is always like slipping in there, translating to English.
They don't translate well.
They don't work at all.
If I was a plane on a cat, I would die from stress. Oh no. Okay.
We're just going to let that one sit for a moment.
Yeah. Marius, you have to know what you've done.
Okay, let's close this down. Leave a like down below. You can find us as Mastodon, Twitter, Facebook, Google+, Telegram.
He does the same thing I do.
IRC,
GitHub.
And all of those links are actually down in the video description already because I pre-prepared. I really hope that Google wasn't receiving that audio from you because that would have been terrible. We were both talking for a very long time at the same time. If you'd like to support what we are doing, I don't mention this a lot, but we do have our donation channels, which you can use to donate either directly to any one of us via LibrePay. Actually, only the other three. I'm not on LibrePay because the almighty euro is not in the United States. But we also...
And by the way, I want to thank that guy that donates me €1 each week now. And I don't know who it is. Thank you very much. But 1 cent, maybe you can afford €5 for the organization, for the UBports Foundation. That would be much better than this 1 cent on my personal account. But thank you.
Thank you for donating. Maybe you want to donate more in a different location.
Yes.
We accept all donations.
Correct.
But you can get that to... You can get to all of that information by going to ubports.com/donate. We have links to PayPal, a Bitcoin address, LibrePay, and Patreon. In the future, after we get the domain, we do have plans to get, is it, what's that number called? IBAN? IBAN.
Yeah.
Yep. An IBAN number so you can donate to us in a tax-deductible way and directly from your European bank account. I believe that is everything for this week. Thank you, everyone, for sending in your questions before we got here today. And thank you, everyone, for listening today. I hope that you enjoyed. Let us know what we could do better by leaving a comment down in the comment area. It's below the video.
Well, it's that side, actually. Oh, that side.
No, that's the chat. You're getting confused here.
Oh,
they're separate.
Okay.
You have to understand,
yeah.
Marius is not that good with technology.
Nope. Thank you all so much once again for joining us today. And you have a great couple of weeks. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Live a like.